Kind for you right about now. Food for thought is what we're going to be serving up on the stage at this time. The gentleman who is our guest speaker has had decades of experience in several different arenas. He's been at the helm of a finance entity for over 10 years. He has extensive experience in working with athletes. He is on several boards. I think, though, the thing that most applies to us here and now is the wealth of experience that he has acquired in his different capacities, and also the fact that he is a professional speaker, even having TEDx qualifications as well. And so, he is the perfect person to address us this evening. Can I ask you please to put your hands together to welcome one of the founding members of the MVP Track and Field Club, Mr. Bruce James.
All right, good evening everybody. And it's a pleasure to be here. I have to tell you that it was really nice sitting at this table. All the gentlemen were speaking Spanish until they discovered that Paula and I could also speak Spanish. After that, they all went back to English, you know. So, Alejandro, dígame, ¿de dónde es? Guatemala. Okay, so dígame, between Lake Atitlán or Lake Managua, which is nicer?
Atitlán.
Atitlán? Okay, he's really from Guatemala. That was a test. It's my pleasure. Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, for that introduction and for having 2 microphones. I have to tell you, when I was invited to speak here, one of my requirements for speaking to any group is that I require that I'm the tallest person in the room. So, I have some big arguments for anybody named Mitchell Watson, because I put that on my list. You know, I have a set of riders. Now, I suspect there's somebody who's a little taller than me in the room. Now, I'm 6'4". So if anybody is taller than 6'4", they need to leave. No, don't stand up. Bend down. No, unless you're receiving an award tonight for long service, that's the only exception. I should say as well to my friends, brindo por todo ustedes. Oh, I heard a Colombian in here as well. 3. Right. I have, however, now exhausted all the Spanish I know. But good evening, ladies and gentlemen all. I'm going to say a word or a very short sentence that I'm sure nobody in this room has ever heard when you're at work. You ready? I am thirsty. You don't hear that word, right? With all your products, that's what. You could be hungry, you could be tired, you could be a lot of things, but you'd never be thirsty at your job. Right? I thought I was going to get some Pepsi or Gatorade. Do anything else? I saw some Crystal Punch. Yeah? Okay. But I'll be prepared next time. My role this evening, though, is to share with you 3 true stories, things that have really happened in my life. And I hope that you'll get the very powerful life lessons from them. You know, when I go internationally, of course, as you can imagine, the most popular question I get from people outside of Jamaica is, why do Jamaicans run so fast? But what the question I find in Jamaica, though, is people ask, you know, Bruce, how did you 3-4 Jamaican men find a way to get non-superstars from champs to go on the world and Olympic stage and win gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals, break world records? In fact, the MVP Track and Field Club is responsible for over 25 Olympic medals, over 55 World Championship medals, and of course the world records and the Olympic records. But how did we do it, especially since we weren't taking stars from champs to do this? And I'm going to share with you, what I'm sharing with you this evening is going to give you some insight into what we did at MVP. The first story I'm going to start with is when I was only 8 years old. Now, my dad was in banking, which Paula and me have led to why I ended up in banking for a short while. And he used to move across the island, so the family moved to Mandeville. And of course, when you get there, you go to a new school, and I'm in a new class. And what I discovered in this school in Mandeville, which was very strange, is that all the bright kids were put in the front row. And the next level of brightness was in the second row. So by the time you get to the back of the class, you know, they're not bright at all. really, really bad that they set it up. Of course, I'm a new student, so they didn't know where to put me. So they put me in the middle of the class. And now this mathematics teacher, like when we were participating, so the math teacher comes in and puts a complicated question on the board, and everybody is to spend a few minutes to figure it out. And at the end of that, each person is to say the answer. Of course, they start at the front with all the bright people, and they say 420 was the first answer, second answer 420, third answer. So of course, all the bright people have the same answer. Now I'm panicking because now I'm in the middle and I don't have 420 on my paper. Now we get to the second row. Somebody says 500 and the whole class laughs because all the bright kids have already given us the answer. We know it's 420. Why is this kid saying 500? And of course, we don't know what's right or wrong because the teacher is waiting until everybody has given the answer. So I'm now under major pressure. I'm the new kid in class, I'm sitting in the middle of the class. The bright kids have all declared 420. I see the horrible repercussion. Remember, at 8 years old, people laughing at you is not fun. So, you know, I'm like, how am I going to declare that I have 250 on my paper? Anyway, it comes to me, new kid, and I take a deep breath, and I say 250. And of course, the entire class laughs, and we go to the right. And by the time I get to the back row, everybody in the back row is saying 420. Because of course, you know, the bright kids already said 420. The teacher says, having gone through the entire class, that only one person got it right. And thank God it was me. But the message that I'm sharing with you, and the message, the life lesson I learned as 8 years old, was that you have to believe in yourself. Even if I was wrong, I felt it was important for me to say what I felt was correct, what I had done. I'd rather say 250 and be wrong, rather than follow the bandwagon and say 420. And in that case, be wrong. Or even say 420 and be right, but not understand. How did I get the 420? So my message, the first of my 3 messages to everyone in this room, you have to really believe in yourself. And believing in yourself doesn't mean you'll always be right. I mean, I try to always be right. But that doesn't mean you'll always be right. But you have to at least believe in yourself. And if it's proven that your approach wasn't the right one or the best way, then learn the best way. Because I was willing to learn how they got the 420 if that was right. First life lesson from an 8-year-old Bruce James at the time, definitely believe in yourself. Second thing happened to me when I went to, anybody knows Wilmer's Boys School? Any Wilmerians in the house? Okay, if you didn't have maroon and gold, I don't want to hear. At Wilmer's, as a first form student, I used to run. That was before all of this happened, before I popped down. When I was young and slim, I used to run. And as a first form, I ran and I did well, and at sports day, won medals. But my house, of the 5 houses at Wilmer's, my house came 4th. And that was really tough on me, because here I'm winning races for my house, but it came 4th. So I asked my house captain, what do we have to do to win? And the house captain said, boy, we've never won. So I'm like, how can I be in a house that has never won sports day? So I decided at that point, I had to find a way to get my house to win, Hannah House. Now, for the next 4 or 5 years, every year we kept coming, 3rd, 4th, we're always at the back of the pack. So in my first year of 6th form, I was then the sports captain of Hannah House. And I decided we had to find a way to win. What I did as sports captain, every single athlete, every single student, I call them athletes, but every single student had to participate. Hannah House had the most participants at sports day that year, and I decided to lead by entering every single event at sports day. And when I said that, I mean I did the 100, and the 200, and the 400, and the 800, and the 15, and the 5,000. The long, the high, the discus, the shot, and on all the relay teams. Now, of course, at some point, I wasn't going to perform very well, especially there were races back to back. So like I'm a better 800 meter runner than 200, and the 200 was right before the 8. But to make the point to my team, I went and did the 200 very slowly. What I got? I got the point. Because once you finish, you're going to score a point. Of course, you know where the story ends. Hannah House, for the first time in Wilmer's history, was able to win sports day. What was, yeah, I can take a clap for that. But what was the life lesson I learned? The 2 things I had to do was I had to be smarter and work harder. Smarter by incorporating so many of my other fellow host members to participate, even if they weren't stars. I didn't need stars, I needed points. Needed points. And the only way you're going to get points was participation. And then the hard work was that I had to push my body to where it has never been. Woolman's changed the rule that year and said, there's a limit to how many events you can do. And that's fine, but I played by the rules. The rule allowed, they didn't have a rule that said, because nobody would be silly enough to go on the 10 events at Sports Day. But I had to win for that. So my second life lesson I learned, and this was as a sixth former, if you really want to achieve, you really, really have to push yourself and work hard. The third life lesson is really my MVP story. Now, a lot of people know what you see of MVP now. You know, go to the World Champs, you go to the Olympics, you see Shelley-Ann, you see Asaf, you see Elaine Thompson, you see all these multiple world and Olympic champions. And I think people are impressed, especially since, you know, Asaf, anybody know how many races Asaf won at Champs? None. Even though he broke the world record in 100 meters, Elaine Thompson, you know how many medals she won? None. Shelley-Ann in class 2, Paula might know what class 2 means, won 100 meters, but by the time she got to class 1, which is your last year champs, Anisha McLaughlin and those girls were beating her up badly. In other words, we have found a way to move these athletes to superstardom, global recognition, bring a lot of pride and joy to Jamaica. But this is an untold story of MVP. The club was actually formed in 1999, and our first athlete was Bridget Foster. Well, she was Foster at the time. She didn't get married until the 2000s. And, you know, remember Bridget, hurdles and sprints. And, you know, it was a struggle. And it was such a struggle at MVP that we got to 2005. Now, I was working at Citibank at the time. Paula referred to my banking past. And I couldn't even tell my wife how much money I was pumping into MVP at the time, because she would have told me, cut it off. Because I had this dream, and Stephen Francis, who was the head coach at the time, Paul Francis' brother, David Noel, we really believed we could make this happen. But we got to a point in 2005 where we were really out of money. That was it. We spent over 5 years trying to build this MVP business and had precious little to show for it. There were some investors who came along though, and they said, you know what? We're willing to buy you guys out. We're going to put money in, we'll have majority ownership. You guys can work for us now, but we'll put the money in to keep you afloat. Stephen thought it was a good idea. It was the only way we're going to survive because the money was done. And I refused to sign. And Stephen said to the gentleman, because they were there's a meeting, sitting there, papers ready to be signed. Stephen said, listen, we're leaving the island tomorrow. It was June 12th. We're going to Athens, and as soon as I get back, you'll get me to sign. I'm the president of the club, they needed my signature. And I said to Stephen, I'm not comfortable, I don't think we should give up. And Stephen said, it's not about giving up, it's now business sense. We just had no resources left, the resources were going to come from these gentlemen. They got to Athens, and on the 14th day of June 2005, Asaf Powell broke the world record in the 100 meters. That's 2 days later. The world for MVP changed that day. The sponsors came on board, because up to that point, people did not believe that Jamaican coaches and Jamaican managers could take Jamaican athletes using Jamaican facilities to be the very best in the world. Asaf breaking the 100-meter world record proved that it could be done right here in Jamaica. Having done that, though, of course, Stephen and Asaf returned to Jamaica, the ministers meet them at the airport, the sponsors come on board, the money starts flowing in, and the sponsors are saying to us, or the gentlemen who are going to buy us out and make us minority, like, you remember this document? And we're like, nope. What is the true life lesson from this? And this is as real as it gets at MVP. Never give up. And it's so real. So the 3 messages that I'm sharing with you this evening, especially to the awardees, and I suspect that the awardees probably already believe in these things. Carla, you're here all along. You're? Just seeing Carla, I didn't recognize her with so much hair. In fact, Carl, I need a little help with the hair. So, tell me where you got it. No, but the three messages, and I really believe that the awardees probably already are buying into this, but I want everyone to know. Number one, believe in yourself. The 8-year-old Bruce James tells you, believe in yourself. Number two, and crucially, if you really want it, you have to work hard for it. That's what I did in sixth form, to find a way to make a house that I'd never won sports day and was told could never win, to win. And of course, never give up. If we had given up in 2005, all these Olympic medals and all these world records and all these world championship medals, they really never have happened. I believe that at Pepsi and CBC, you guys can achieve so much more. And the last thing I want to say to you, and I found it interesting, clearly I didn't have access to this before I got here this evening. But when I read it at the front, I said, boy, did they find like the MVP website. At CBC, we appreciate these years of commitment and passion, reaching ever higher goals and dreams that lead us to achieve the impossible. I was told, I don't want to tell you who said it, because I don't want to build up any bad word, but we're told, MVP, you cannot do it, it's impossible. The best Jamaican athletes have to go where? Of course. That was the only way. They had to go to the States. Staying in Jamaica, they couldn't make it. It was impossible. So when I read this, it touched me. So whoever put this on the front of your program means a lot to me. I think there's a lot of similarities between MVP and CBC. Congratulations to the awardees, and thank you for your time.
And that's the hallmark of a true public speaker. You listen, you enjoy, and before you know it, he's over in your seat. You don't realize that through the enjoyment you also learned. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce James. I think it's kind of like that for many of you receiving awards this evening. You know, before you know it, the time has passed and you're looking around, wow, when did it get to be 5 years? When did it get to be 10 years? Well, we are going to be making the presentation of the awards at this time. Let me see Ms. Vassell. Men assisting to come forward at this time. And we will be presenting in the order in which the names are listed on your program, starting with the 5-year awardees. Ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to start off with awardee number 1, the 5-year awardees. Sean Allen, Carrick.